most people don't realize how close they actually are to making it until they're about to quit. And I have experienced this many, many times. I have experienced many hurdles before even 20 years old. I had the stress of handling a wholesaling company, and we generated over $200,000 in assignment fees and commissions. And again, before I was even 20 years old. So I clearly understand what it takes to have to deal with hurdles, especially once you actually have success and also before you have success. So I'm hoping in this video, the thing you guys can take out is that you're closer than you think to making it. You really are. No matter what position in life you're in, no matter what you're doing right now, you genuinely are really close to having success. You just don't realize it. And you also don't realize what is stopping you from getting to the next step. So again, I'm gonna get right into it and kind of explain a few things to you guys and a few key concepts that will help you get from that position you're in right now to the next position. So I call this the invisible process phase. And basically what this is here's an example of it. You're at the gym, right? And let's say you're at the gym for 2 or 3 weeks and you're lifting, you're actually getting a little bit of results, but you see the person who's lifting right next to you and they're huge, they're built. But then you ask them and you're like, hey, how are you so big? And they're like, oh, I've been doing this for 7 or 8 years. And you've been here for 2 or 3 weeks. So what I'm saying is there is such thing as invisible progress. And that person, I guarantee you, had a ton of hurdles and a ton of stopping points, but he still kept going and he still stayed consistent. And that's the biggest thing and the biggest takeaway of everything here is you need to stay consistent with all the things you're doing. So that's why if you're working 3 or 4 days a week, you got to do every day. You got to go every day. And I would rather actually go a little bit less every day and do it every day than do it more time, less times per week, right? So again, you have to understand you can't compare yourself to other people because you're on your own journey. You're not on someone else's journey. You're on your own journey. And I can explain this a lot because a lot of these people who I worked with are older. And it's tough for me because especially when I first started, I had a ton of competitors in my previous business that were way ahead of me, who had the connections, who had the money, who had all the funding and stuff like that I didn't have. And it really stung for a little bit. I'm not going to lie. And it's just tough because at first I was really comparing myself to others. And the next thing that happened is I started making money and I started comparing myself even more to other people. And for me, I always strive to be better, always strive to want more. And for you guys, I'm sure many of you guys are in that same position and you are worried about how to get to the next step. And again, that's when patience is so important as well, because you have to realize if you're just starting something, you can't expect to get results right away. So for example, I run my agency, Go Creative AI, and we get really fast results. But I tell my clients, look, you're not going to get results overnight. You're just not. That's the truth. I don't want to lie to anyone. Like, you're not going to get results overnight, but if you stay consistent and we work together, in the next 2 or 3 months, you're going to have 3, 4, 5 deals, and you're going to make tens of thousands of dollars and make a huge return on your investment in my company, right? So that's why I always tell people, don't compare yourself to others. Stay on track. Do everything you need every day because you know if you're working hard enough or not. That's a hurdle I see many people are at is like they're doing the same things every day, but there's like a stoppage point. And the only way to get over that stoppage point is to figure out how to do the same things you're doing, but get it done quicker. And momentum is so real. And I can explain exactly why. So I'm sure many of you guys know, but my first 8 or 9 months of business, I was losing money. And it was really hard for me. But once I got a little bit of money and once I had some success, more success came to me. And I think you get confidence when you have success, but also you're getting this natural aura. And that only comes from actually grinding and doing the work that most other people are not willing to do. At first, you need to focus on the input, not the outcome, right? Every day is a constant mining. You're picking the rock every single day. And eventually that rock is fully broken, but it's not fully broken overnight. It's not fully broken in an hour or even a couple of days or a week or a month. It's broken once you chip at it over periods of time. And then obviously that's why it's so important to understand that you're going to do it. You're going to have success. I promise you, you will if you work hard and you do the things you're doing. But if there's an issue, you need to figure out how to get that issue fixed as quickly as possible because the people you're against and the competitors and all of the successful entrepreneurs in business, the reason they are successful is because they have something called speed. They're extremely fast. They are able to solve their problems faster than you can solve your problems. Because as an entrepreneur myself and as running a company myself, I realize there are problems I have every single day. But the reason I have success is because I figure out how to solve those problems faster than other people can solve them. And the last point I want to talk about is remember why you started. Why are you trying to have success? If you're stuck or you're almost at that point of success, but you're not quite there, why? Why are you doing this? And then also, what can I do from my past experiences to help my current experiences to help me thrive quicker? Right. And I think you have to remember why you started because everyone's gonna have people that said stuff to them. Everyone's gonna have family and friends that doubted them. But in reality, once you're at the point you want to be at, they're gonna notice, right? So that's what I always tell to many people who ask me for advice. Like, look, it's not an overnight game. Like, it's gonna take years to get to the point you're at or the point you want to get at. Again, it's one of those things where you can do it, but it is gonna come at the expense of a few things and you're going to have to sacrifice a few things. And that's why I always say you need to delay your gratification. You need to work so hard and not have to look at the results. You can just work and work and work and be fine with not seeing results. So there's actually multiple studies that talk about this and it's so true, right? The person who stays consistent and who does less work every day but is able to thrive on their craft and be very focused on what they're doing is able to beat the person who spends more time on their craft, but they're less consistent and they're less disciplined, less focused on that craft. So what I'm saying is anyone who's in business, you have to figure out how to get things done faster than the other person. And if you're able to do that, that's when you start to actually have success. So that's kind of what I'm saying is you need to learn to build these personal relationships. You need to learn to network. You need to learn to thrive under pressure and be a very good communicator. So in future videos, I'll talk about that as well. But I kind of want to bring you guys to another topic up here. And it's more for beginners who are still not sure what they want to get to and what they want to do in their life. But up here, I'll give you guys a few different side hustle ideas that could work. And it really just depends on your personality. So click off this video, click on that video, and I'm sure you guys are gonna get a lot of value from it.